Okay, so now we want to import it. We need to check the camera view, make sure it's on top, so we're looking directly down from a bird's eye view. We go to File, we click Import, go through your images to find what you're after. Need to go back to Floor Plans. Select the right type of file. This one's a JPEG, and it's this one. Click Import, and there we are. I'm going to lock it to the center there, and then you can scale it accordingly. Then the next thing you're going to do is lock it to the correct dimensions. So we're going to measure a wall that we know the length of. We use our measuring tool, click and drag that length of wall, and then type down here the real length, and it will scale your diagram to the correct size. So let's give you an example. We zoom in on a section that we know. We know the length of this wall here. So I'm going to zoom in so we get a little bit of a better look at that wall. Oh, we've got a little bit of a bend in that paper, but that's all right, we'll go with it. So we use our measuring tape to go from this point here along to this point here. And I know that to be 10.3 meters. So I change that down here to 10.3 meters, hit return, and then it'll ask, do you want to resize your model? You click yes, and it will scale the whole thing to the correct size. So now, if we just rearrange it a little bit, the whole model has been scaled. So when I measure a certain area of the room, say for example, from here across to there, 10.3 meters. Okay. Once you've added your plans, and here's just another one I've got, this is just a simple house plan, you then need to bring the walls up to make a 3D object. So if you just start drawing along the lines, you'll notice that the lines don't go straight, which isn't what you want. So what you want to do is go Camera, Standard View, go directly on top, and that will just orientate it. And depending on if you've scanned the image in, it means it's a lot easier to draw along the lines. So what you can do is drag down, draw along the lines, drag up. Once you close that off, you'll notice that it goes a different color. That means that this is a completely closed face. And you want that to happen for all of the walls. So again, that's a completely closed face. Now sometimes they won't be completely straight, they might be going at an angle, and it can be a little tricky. Sometimes actually using the rectangle tool means you're guaranteed to get your closed face, because if you end up drawing it and it doesn't go a closed face, let me just see if I can do something which will change that. If I go on an angle, I draw a face over here and maybe back over here, well, it's still closing the face, but sometimes you'll get it where it doesn't actually close and you don't get that solid color. That could be because you might be drawing down to something. So if I draw along from here to the wall and then join back over there, then I want to go back up. Even when I join that to there, it's no longer a flat wall on the map, it's actually on this angle, and that's one of the issues with it being on a 3D surface. So what we do, let's just go back to the top camera view, that means it's the best chance you've got. Delete those, just click on them and hit delete, they disappear. And that's where sometimes using that rectangular tool means that you're definitely getting a closed face for your wall, which is exactly what you want to be doing. You might need to zoom in a little bit to get more precise control. And there we're getting some closed faces for our walls. So you do that for all of the walls, and then we bring the walls up. I'll just do a couple more, finish them off. So let's just say we've done all of that. Now what you want to do is click and raise it up to the appropriate distance. So use the push-pull tool, choose the height, and then just type in the height you want it to be. So whether it be 1.2 meters, which is 1,200 millimeters, or whatever that is, you can type it in to get the exact height. Once you've got one wall, you click the other walls and you just drag them to the face on the other wall, and it'll make them all the same height. Now it may not look like, oops, I didn't want to drag that one there, I want to drag this one to the same height as that one. Once you've done that, when you rotate your model, you'll start to see that we're actually getting some depth or height in our walls. Now admittedly they're not too high, we want to make them a bit more like an actual wall. And there we're starting to get our model. So you can see how you can actually build up your floor plan, and you'll end up with your walls. You can add in by importing from your 3D warehouse. You can add in things like toilets, things like that, which just add an element of interest. So we go download, and we'll go put into model, and we can stick our bathroom or our toilet in the master. You don't want it in the master bedroom. And again, we can scale those to the correct size. A lot of the models come correctly scaled. I'm currently in something that's not scaled to the right size, but you can rescale these quite easily. Just dragging them out to the size that you want. And then you end up with detailed 3D models inside your world walkthrough. Once you've done that, you need to export it as a DAE file. It will export two elements, both the file and the textures folder. You want to copy both of those into your Xcode project. Otherwise, none of the colors, none of the things that you add in. So if you add a wall texture, and we want it to be a brick wall, none of those will show up, and you'll end up with this strange grey, not really bricks, let's try bricks. Strange grey objects which don't show up very well in the augmented reality world. So remember, if you add textures, if you use models, they have textures in them. Make sure you drag that textures folder into the same model resource as you drop the model into. But that's how you create your world. So in this case it's a house, but you can do any type of thing. You can do large scale maps and blow them up where you're running around an oval in a virtual world, or you're running around a much smaller object. The big hassle is going from SketchUp into Xcode is the scale is not a one-to-one scale. So what I've found with house models is I've had to scale the model down to 0.03 of the right size, and that's been the best way to actually get it to appear a life-size model. But you might have to play with those scales in Xcode to make sure you get it to the right size. But that's quickly how you make your 3D world. Remember, just export as a 3D model. Let's call it house, and make sure it's a DAE file. I'll just drop this onto, I'll stick in the downloads, that'll be fine. Export. And then remember, when you open up your downloads, you'll end up with two, house and then the house folder. Both of those need to be put into the Xcode file for the textures to show up on your 3D model. There we go.